Night StarCraft does get underway.
And again, we did start out with MLG Metalopolis, but the starting map can be picked again. So Ruff choosing Metalopolis, a player or a map which both players can be very, very familiar with. It's made its way in and out of the ladder map pool in multiple seasons, so they've played thousands of games, watched thousands of games on this map. We do have Binsky spawning as the blue Terran, currently up 3-1 for Light Esports in the south position here, and his opponent VVV Ruff spawning as the red Terran, the last line of defense for VVV Gaming. He's got to win 3 in a row to come back in this one, but it just starts with one game, Curta. He's got to win this one.
Yeah, definitely. And right here on MLG Metalopolis, this will be close by air spawns once again, similar to game one. And I'm really curious as to how Ruff is going to try to open this and what Binsky is going to do in order to defend. Normally, Banshee play is a very, very large option on a map like Metalopolis, where the Banshees have a lot of room to hide in the corners and stay away from any ground units that can normally shoot back up at them like Marines. And because of the close flight distances, those Banshees may come in and come back for harassment time and time again. It looks like Light is going to be going for Banshees, or at least fast tech, as he is going Refinery first here on Metalopolis.
Yeah, I was about to say, if I was in this position for Binsky, I know you want to win a straight-up game against an opponent like Ruff, but if I'm the first of 3 tries against Ruff for my team, I'm probably cheesing him or doing something, really, really off that Ruff isn't going to be able to react to right away or doesn't expect is coming, and I'll just take my shot. I'll flip my coin. If I get heads, we win. If I get tails, then, I have 2 teammates who can then play macro games. Both of them very good players. Again, they probably have Kawe Rice as the anchor on their team. So if I'm Binsky, I'm cheesing.
All right, so we'll see if Binsky is going to cheese. He is already harvesting gas. That means right as his barracks is done, he will have enough gas for a factory. But that does also mean that his orbital command will be slightly delayed. Will his gamble for faster tech but a weaker economy really pay off? Or will Ruff be able to defend it, as we now see the Binsky just wandering around with this SCV inside the main base, taking a look as we are going into Reapers for Ruff. So Ruff going into Reapers and perhaps going to be doing a Reaper expansion, which would be the most standard game I've seen Ruff play in a critical situation like this.
So Reapers are light, right?
Yes.
So if we have Reaper against Hellion, what's that look like?
Well,
I don't think I've ever seen that.
Well, the Hellion normally has a really, really slow attack. I think it's like 2.5 seconds versus the 1.1 of a Reaper. So the Reaper actually has higher DPS, but then the Hellion, how does the Hellion factor in? The Hellion has more hit points. So it really becomes a coin flip, as we should be seeing a starport come in and then a tech lab being added on the factory.
Yeah, we do see that starport, and again, the factory coming out with 1 Hellion before it starts working on that tech lab. Terrans have sort of figured out this timing where I can produce that Hellion before I start the tech lab, and it will be done right in time for the starport, but it actually looks like a second Hellion coming out. So we do have Ruff expanding the gold here, and this is something that he has done before. The gold does not have rocks, so like you said, he doesn't have to take those down. And it's interesting that a lot of tournaments are actually going away from gold bases.
Yeah, so we'll see what's going to be happening as Ruff now sets up a bunker at his gold base, and a little bit of technical difficulties coming in as now we see a Reaper trying to wander around. It wants to be able to take down this Hellion, as the Hellion does get a shot off onto this Reaper here. So 1 Reaper at each of these Onaga towers, but it looks like it may be a cover fire drop, and a cover fire drop is going to be just perhaps throw Ruff completely out of his game, as I do not believe he's expecting Hellions and mass Marines.
Yeah, and it looks like Binsky has scouted that gold expansion, so he knows it's coming. Ruff does have a bunker set up, but he's just now finally ferrying a few Marines over to try to take down or to try to defend this gold expansion. And if that gold actually gets up and running for a few minutes here, Ruff could take a strong lead in this game, but he's going to have to survive this very, very strong drop play from Binsky. He's going to have a few Hellions as well as these Marines making their way into the main of Ruff.
Yeah, SCVs, you can see them straight going after that tech lab. The tech lab with that really, really all-important stim now being researched. The Hellions, or sorry, the SCVs now just in a perfect line for those Hellions as the Hellions getting in a lot of damage. SCVs finally coming over, trying to finish off one more of those units there as the Marines are going to perhaps be going after those, going after the reactor and perhaps more barracks. The orbital command may need to lift off as now all the SCVs are at the gold. But Ruff is now pretty far behind, and things are not looking good for him at all.
Yeah, Binsky was able to kill 7 SCVs there, but again, Ruff does have his expansion. He's got double mules, and he's got this gold, so his economy is actually better mineral-wise than Binsky. So if he is able to save his production structures, his barracks here, as well as this orbital command, he could still be okay in this game. But back at home, we've got Binsky already working on siege tanks and siege tech. And I have a feeling that after this drop gets cleaned up by Ruff, if it does in fact, Binsky's just going to hit a timing here where he sieges up that gold on those towers with siege tanks.
Yeah, you can now see Ruff going into a crazy, crazy mass barrack strategy. 6 barracks now coming in as more Marines going after those SCVs. There are 2 Marines currently inside the bunker. The barracks could lift off and perhaps try to build somewhere else, but it looks like they will be lifting off, but it's going to be too little too late. SCVs are not going to be able to repair it in time at all, as the Marines are now going after the SCVs once more.
And here comes Binsky with his first few tanks. Siege tech is done, so Ruff does not own this tower, and Binsky can siege up right there, deny some mining on the gold if he chooses, but it looks like he's actually just going to go for the main, perhaps. Ruff trying to land the barracks. He's got one which is about to burn down, though he does send the SCV, and now we do see those siege tanks on that high ground, and they're going to be shelling that bunker, and I think this might spell the end for Ruff.
Yeah, Ruff opening up with a rather strange strategy. It's not looking out happening all too well as the siege tanks at the Zelnaga Tower able to shoot and destroy some of those SCVs super far range, dealing damage, and now the Marines pretty much able to fire away at that orbital command as well. But Ruff still trying to salvage this game somehow, keeping all of his units alive. It looks like the bunkers and the barracks will all fall as the siege tanks still blasting away, and Binsky not relenting, expanding behind this, getting up or transferring a lot of SCVs over, and now looking to put the final nail in the coffin by not relenting.
Yeah, Binsky's expanded behind this as well, so he's getting further and further ahead. He's focusing down the orbital command here. It's about to go down, and that's going to leave Ruff with one orbital command. He's transferred most of his SCVs back to his main, but he's got all these production structures, all these racks in the center. Looks like Ruff with the pack of Marines here will be able to fend off the Marines for Binsky, but Binsky has excellent positioning here with these siege tanks. He's just macroing up back at home. He's got a ton of SCVs, 40 to 12, and he's got decent production structures. He's been really solid in these games.
Yeah, 2 siege tanks, 4 siege tanks total. It looks like all of them will be returning home as the Marines perhaps going to try to put pressure in a place where those siege tanks are not. Double barracks on the low ground, now trying to research stim and combat shield, but I don't believe they will be completed in time as the barracks are now flying over and trying to land inside the main base. The Marines are going to be perhaps pushing into the main base as well, and there's not that many units here by Binsky. Binsky may be forced to retreat, and Ruff asking, you still one base, and Binsky says no, and Ruff is very interested as the Marines are now pushing in and now gonna go straight after these SCVs. Some SCVs will die here as those mass Marines are looking to deal a lot of damage. There is one siege tank up on the high ground as the Marines do not have stim just quite yet, taking down some siege tanks, taking down some more Marines, but I believe Ruff will have to say GG as he's lost his pack of lost all of his Marines there.
Ruff always has a comment, win or lose, usually a comment when he loses. But yeah, a lot of disappointing games coming this week from VVV, and strong play here from Binsky, able to take down 3 players on VVV, and Ruff the anchor taken down quite easily.
Yep, so